Hey, thanks for joining me for another podcast. This is episode 4. 1, 2, and 3 are out now. Go back and watch those if you'd like. I'd appreciate it. Today, I got so much on my mind. I don't know if this is. Does that work better? Whoop, just hit his. Wow, that one chord and she all blew away. Got a lot on my mind today. I can always edit this out. I don't want to, but I could. Potential relationship is on my mind. My relationship with God is on my mind. Honestly, the end days is on my mind. The rapture is on my mind. That's a big part of my mind, but I'll get to that future episodes. Good news is that months ago, when I knew I was going to do this podcast, I came up with a name. Still like you to put a comment below, but My Side of the Mountain is what I'm going to call this. That book was a huge influence on me as a child. I reread it since I've been in Tennessee, all 3 of the books. And it's like, you don't have a falcon, if you're familiar with the book. You don't have a falcon, but you got a Carl. You don't live in a tree, but you live in a tiny house. It was parallels, blah, blah, blah. Enjoyed it. So that's the name of the podcast, My Side of the Mountain. This particular series is called Be a Better Man. I want to do, after I finish with this, I want to do more podcasts, but for now, those are the names. So anyway, the two, I got other things on my mind, but the 2 things that have been preoccupying me right now are a relationship and a relationship with God. And I know from past experiences, because it's happened several times, if I get into a relationship, my focus has a tendency to turn away from God and back or to the person. Neither one is ignored, but my focus, my daily focus during the day, during the night, whatever happens, has to do with how can I make her happy? What can I do for her? As opposed to, without a relationship, what can I do for God? How can I make him happy? So I never get disappointed or I never get upset if my shoulders were tense. Ugh. I never get disappointed if a relationship falls through. You know what I'm saying? That's not quite right. I don't get angry. There's always a disappointment when something that you wanted personally ends or goes away or is taken away, whatever the case may be. But I also realize through those past experiences that when that happens, God blesses me. I focus more on him again. Excuse me. I focus more on him again, and that relationship blossoms both ways. So anyway, that's what's on my mind today. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're going to talk about, continue the conversation that I giggle because that's we aren't having a conversation. I'm having a conversation with you. I'm telling you stuff. And I giggle because that is how this relationship with this person is that I share and she doesn't, which is crazy weird because this just happened on live camera. She just replied to my text. I don't know. But I'm going to keep going with you guys. I'll get to her in a minute. So today, in this episode 4, I want to cover I refer to them as secular things. So there's the Christian beliefs, and then there's the world beliefs. And this is a world, these are worldly things that you can do as a man to just better yourself in that world, in the world. And I think they're important. Obviously I put them in the book. I have tried my hardest to do all these things. I don't succeed every day on everything. Let me give you, I just had a thought, because that's what I do. I consider myself lazy. What does that mean, Brad? Because the Bible says don't be lazy. Society says don't be lazy. But my concept of lazy is different than societal's concept of lazy. I work really hard to give the presumption or the appearance of being lazy. Here comes my co-host. So what do I mean by that? I will take a process, and I explain this in the book a little bit, but I will take a process. Hello, Carl. I told you if you came out here, I was going to put you up on screen. I take a process, no matter what it is, and just dive into it. That's what I'm asking you to do in the book with your stuff, is just dive into it. How can I make this the easiest possible way to do something? What tool do I need to make it easier? What do I rearrange the process? Do I put this part over here and this part over here, and that, and then it flows, and thereby saving me time, money, and effort. So when somebody presents me with a problem, an issue, he's laying down, we're good. What I do is, this goes back to the book my friend wrote, but I pull from I think I do. She says you don't, but I think I pull from my memory. So have I done this thing before? What did I do to fix it then? What did I say to help the person then? What process? And I then apply that to the current situation that somebody gave me. So what happens is I look really smart, but I'm just basing it on past experiences. And that goes right to her theory in her book. So back when my kids were younger, I would make every Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day party that the kids had. And I'd see other parents there, and they're like, well, how are you able to attend all these? Don't you work? Well, I was self-employed. I've been self-employed for 30 years, and I had the ability to go make money, but then schedule time off from that to do these events. So instead of going to a 9-to-5, making X dollars an hour, or I got an itch, or X dollars a year, whatever it happens to be, by being there all the time, I was able to go make money in a short period of time and then have the rest of the time off. So my process, my being lazy, was not to have a 9-to-5. My being lazy was being self-employed and determining my own income. So anyway, that's an example. So what I start with, the first thing I start with is be better with time. And we're finally getting into what are we in here? We're 11 minutes in. This might run long. Be better with time, because everybody's busy. Everybody's got a job. Everybody's got a wife. Well, everybody's got kids. Everybody's got sports. Everybody's got hobbies. Everybody's got friends. Everybody's got stuff pulling at them all the time. And if you don't schedule it, your day, your week, your month, whatever it happens to be, you're just going to say yes to everything and ignore what's important, yourself, your relationships, your family, etc. So I started with the quote here: "Do or do not do. There is no try." Yoda. Don't do stuff just to look busy at work. Don't do stuff just to give the impression. Do stuff with a purpose. Do stuff to either, what do I say here? I want to get this right, and then I know it, but I haven't said it in a while. Either do something you have to do or do something you want to do. Don't take your times where you're having to do something and fake it. What you do when the times you want to do something, that's up to you. You can play video games. I don't recommend them, but you can. You can go golfing. You can work out. You can sit on the couch. If that's what you want to do, do it. So just do or do not do. There is no try. Don't fake stuff. Analyze everything. What do I use as an example here? There's stuff in your life, like I said about me being lazy. There's things in your life that you do that you're just doing because you've done them. Well, that's the way my dad did it. That's the way my boss told me to do it. That's, whatever the excuse is, you've always done it that way. So analyze everything from, I think I get into this here. Anyway. And if you do that and you say, hey, I did it this certain way, I use lawn mowing. I haven't read my book in a long time. Probably should prepped a little better for this than I did. I use lawn mowing. Let's say you have a good size yard and you're using the old rotary push mower to do it. Well, that doesn't make sense, right? But my dad did it. I got the mower from my dad, so I use that. Well, go get a 60-inch zero-turn mower and knock it out. On the other side of it, if you have a small yard and you're using a 60-inch mower to do it, that's not effective either. That's not the best way to do that particular job. Repetitive tasks. Think about the tasks you do repeatedly. Is there a way to finish them faster, make them easier or efficient? That's what we're talking about. I just give different. Simplify simple tasks. This is an example from way back that has stuck with me. Not so much anymore, but we still have to write out an envelope to send off a bill or maybe a letter or whatever. And instead of writing out your name, your street address, your city, state, and zip code, take the time to develop or to build address labels. And if you take the time to do that, put in exactly the wording you want, the font you want, maybe a little snowflake for winter or whatever. Put in exactly what you want, print them off, and then when you have a bill, put it on there. For one, it's neater, and for two, it saves time. Yeah, does it take a lot of time to write out your name, your street address, your city, state, and zip? No. But it's that's my example. And for me, I have arthritis in my hands now, so it's a lot neater and it just looks better. And it's a satisfaction of just pulling it off that sheet and putting it on the envelope and putting a stamp on it. Don't even have to lick stamps anymore, or for a while, and you're done. But that's just my little example of analyzing everything, from the simplest to the major things. Do things that need doing. Some tasks are best handled immediately to avoid creating more work. Let's go back to mowing. It's Friday afternoon, you got home from work, you're tired, but the grass needs mowing. You're like, I'll get to it when I get to it. And next thing you know, it's Thursday, and your grass is this tall, and now you have to take either that zero turn or that rotary mower out there and work harder, make the machine work harder. And it takes more time because you might have double cut, blah, blah, blah. Do the stuff that has to be done when it needs to be done. Do the things you don't want to do as soon as possible. Nobody likes to pay bills. Nobody likes to schedule doctor's appointments. Nobody likes to get online and find an airline ticket, whatever it happens to be. Or talk to a friend, or talk to your wife about an issue. Nobody, you put that off and regret it. She just texted me again. But once you do those things, you'll just feel the weight come off of you, because subconsciously or consciously, that task is taking up space in your brain. And it just feels good to get rid of it. I need to move faster. You guys want to stick around for as long as I want to talk? All right, I appreciate that. Do things you do not want to do as soon as possible. That's what we said. Schedule everything. Oh my word. So this is huge. Everybody carries a phone. Everybody has access to a calendar. I recommend it on your phone because it's easy to do. And it's always with you, and you can set alerts and etc. I'm just going to read the example I got. So you got kids and they got a soccer game on Saturday, whatever. The game's at 3 o'clock, or the game is at 4, okay? 3 to 3:15, you get your kids ready, dressed and packed. 3:15 to 3:30, you drive to the game. 3:30 to 4 is pre-game warm-up. 4 to 5 is the game. 5 to 5:15 is drive home. So now you know that from 3 to 5:15, your time's taken up. Do you only watch your kid during that time? When they're playing, yeah, pay attention, cheer them on. But during their pregame warm-up, you could be reading a book. You could be talking to another person. You could be exercising. You can go for a walk, whatever. And this also works, but you don't answer emails from work when your kid's playing. This time is specifically when you schedule something, that's what you do. Okay? This works in reverse. This might be hard to follow, but it works for, in reverse for your morning routine. Let's say you got to be to work at 9. So we're going to go backwards from 9. From 9 to 8:50, you walk into work. 8:50 to 8:35, you drive to work. 8:35 to 8:25, you eat breakfast. 8:20 to 8:25, you get dressed. 8:05 to 8:20, you shower, shave, brush teeth, take your medications. 7:30 to 8:05, your morning workout. I can't hardly see it. 7:20 to 7:35, your morning devotional. 7:15 to 7:20, you make coffee. 7:15, your alarm goes off. So if you have to be at somewhere at a certain time, you put in drive time, you put in preparation time, and if need be, return drive times. And then you know, and you put it in your calendar, then you know. I have recurring appointments for going to church. I go to church 45 minutes from here. So I know that 45 minutes before I want to be at the church, I have to leave. Prior to that, I have to get dressed. Prior to that, I have to make my coffee, and I have to get up. So what time do I set my alarm to get up in order to be at that specific location at the time that I need to be? After church is, okay, maybe I need to go shopping. Maybe I need to go to Home Depot. Maybe I need to stop and get gas. Maybe I need to do whatever I need to do. But then I put it in there after church. So I know from my day from X to X is taken up. Yeah, it moves. This stuff for me personally isn't set in stone, but it helps me to say, okay, after church I gotta go get groceries because there's no food in the house. Schedule everything. Examine your routines. Go through your routines and find out, would it make sense to to get up, get dressed, then work out, and then go take a shower, then make coffee. No. What can you combine? What order does the stuff have to be in order to be the most effective? Drive the speed limit. I drive the speed limit for 2 reasons. 1, it's the law. 2, it pisses off the people behind me. That's not very godly, but it's the truth. Schedule breaks during your day. Put in an alarm. Hey, you've been at work for X amount of time, schedule a 15-minute. Bedtime, set an alarm to go to bed. Sometimes you get up or you're up at night and you're watching a game or TV, or you're doing a project or whatever. Next thing you know, it's an hour past your bedtime. It might be fine, but if you do that all the time, it can become a problem. So set an alarm to go to bed, not just to get up. Make to-do lists. Oh, huge. So I do a project. If you watch any of the videos besides these podcasts, I do projects. They don't just happen, okay? I sit down days, weeks, sometimes hours before I'm actually going to do the project, and I make a list. What do I need? And I build the project in my brain, find out the errors, and then put that. I don't necessarily do it with that stuff, but it's an example. Put the sequence of what I got to do. Well, first I got to put the posts in. Secondly, I got to do the framing. Then I do the decking. You don't do the decking before you put the posts in. You know what I'm saying? So make a to-do list of the parts and stuff you have to do. Then when you're done, take that to-do list, put it in your calendar for a day you want to do it, and do it. Vary your friends. Ask friends. Men need men. Men need friends that don't do the same occupation as they do. I was a landscaper, a mechanic, and a barbecue person, so I had lawyers and doctors and AC guys and whatever that I could say, hey, what do you think of this? And they could give me some advice. Didn't ask them to do it, but they give me advice. Vary your friends. I just covered that. Let somebody else do it. Huge. If you're in a management position, you don't have to do everything yourself. Give it to your assistant. If you're at home, you don't have to do everything yourself. Give it to your son. Let him mow the grass or her mow the grass. Talk to your wife. Split up the housework so that one person isn't responsible and has to do everything. Learn to say no. I'm going to spend a little time on this. For most men, learning to say no will get you hours of extra time in your week. Hours. I'm not necessarily saying no to your wife all the time, but, hey, can you help me move this thing? Hey, you want to go play golf? Hey, do you want to do XYZ? And you're like, no. Now, instead of the 3 hours it takes you to play golf, which there's nothing wrong with golf, I'm not saying that. But now you have 3 hours to do what you want to do or what you need to do. Does that make sense? Try saying no. Problem is, you got to be careful. Because if every time your buddy calls you to, hey, can you help me move? Or, hey, I need help with this, and you say no, he's going to stop asking. And then when you ask, there's a possibility that he might say no. Wow, we got to cut this short. We're almost done. Social media. My phone's over there. It's beeped. I could have stopped this and looked at it, and I never would have came back to you. Seriously, I would have spent time doing whatever that was. And then after that was over, I'd be scrolling through TikTok and Reels and looking on Facebook and YouTube. Nothing wrong with that in moderation. But you will find that you will get a lot of time in your day if you block your social media time. Alerts, social media. Turn off the alerts on your phone. You don't need to know when Jimmy from college posts a post. My phone, is on silent mode, and there's only 4 people that ring through for me, that actually ding or have a designated sound when they text or call. My sons, my neighbor, because we live out here alone, we're a long ways from each other, and things happen. So if I call or she calls, I want to know that she needs me, or she's hurt, or I'm hurt, or I fell off the ladder. I had one where I put a huge tower up for the Starlink, and I'm like, or maybe it was the roof. I put the anywho, I was up high, and I texted her. I said, hey, if you don't hear from me in 15 minutes, come by. Well, everything went fine, and she didn't get the text until hour later. But if I had fallen, eventually she would have got here. So they ring through. And then there's one other person that I just mentioned that dings through. Constant contact. Set up a time to put your phone on silent. And those emails, those texts, those alerts, whatever it happens to be, will be there in the morning. That voicemail will be there when you come back to your phone. You don't have to answer the phone. Set up, what did it say? You don't need the constant contact that is required in today's society. Do things right the first time. Kind of self-explanatory, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people half-ass stuff, and then it ends up costing more time, money, and effort later to correct that. Don't multitask. So, far end of the spectrum is don't start the burger and the oil change at the same time. You can start your coffee in the morning and then go do workouts, but you're not really multitasking. You did 2 separate tasks. You started the coffee, which will automatically go, and then you did your workout or devotional. Don't repeat yourself. Whew, this used to be a big one for me, because when I talk, I try to be very specific in what I request or require or demand from somebody, or I give an explanation to them, and they'll be like, huh? What? And they don't get it. And sometimes, obviously, you have to use a little finesse with this. But if you're talking to somebody, they're paying attention, and they don't pay attention, then they're like, what was that? And you repeat yourself, the whole thing. The key to that is to say, what part didn't you understand? In a kind tone. And then they don't have, well, I got this, and this, and this, and this, and this, but I didn't understand this. So then you just re-explain that instead of all the other things. Time savers. Get up early. Every self-help book you read will tell you if you want more time, get up early. Going to bed is different. Go to bed with your wife or go to bed at a specific time. Get up earlier. That person, if you have a partner sleeping with you, then that person is still asleep and you're not going to bother them. You're going to go do your own thing. Get up early. Read your Bible. Work out. Read a self-help book. Plan your day. Take time to schedule. Time to look over your schedule. So at the end of each chapter is what I do is I put a challenge. And this challenge is analyze all of your everyday routines to figure out if there's a better way. Schedule everything. Set your morning alarm a half hour earlier than normal and do something to be better. Well, that ran long. So this was episode 4. Episode 5 is coming up, or is up, probably already up by the time you see this. Don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm probably just going to continue in the book. And I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next one.